to another exciting episode of Pens in Use. Once again, it's late, and my only excuse is we've had cool temperatures and I've been playing in my garden, and I forgot all about you, so... I have a lot of pens inked up because actually tonight and tomorrow I'm going to film a whole bunch of reviews. I'm trying to get ahead with school is going to be starting in just a few weeks, and I would just like to have reviews filmed up until at least October. Hopefully in October I will be redoing this, and I will have a better solution for all the close-ups and writing samples. Because as one of my viewers remarked, and you can't see it right now, let's see if I put my hand there, right there, you can see a spot on the lens. Well, what that is actually it's a piece of dust that's on the sensor, but I can't open up the sensor to clean it. This is just, it's a cheap document camera designed for a classroom. Not even really designed for a classroom with much money. It's designed for, let's just say a certain scenario. I like it. It's been wonderful for my classroom, and it's cool to have this at home because it's much better than what I was doing for writing before, but it's not that great. So yeah, it has that limit. You can't see it, but it has a control on the top for focus. I can turn on an autofocus, which I learned the hard way. No. But even the autofocus has to have something to focus on. And then there's an exposure, so I can dial down kind of the automatic exposure, but depending on what I put under it, it'll brighten and darken it anyway. And I have no control over the white balance. And this particular viewer noticed all these things, to which I say, yeah. Hopefully in October, possibly after October, if I film too many ahead, you will see my better solution. But until then, this is what I have. So speaking of what I have, from left to right, I have this Parker Jotter, which I purchased in Bismarck. An Arrow purple black model thingy. A Servo. Don't remember which one this is. I have two that look alike. A Ling Mo Lorelei demonstrator, obviously. A Jinhao 992. Platinum 3776 with a Shunyo finish. A Delike New Moon. A Lingmo Lorelei with the orange finish, which is the exact same pen as this clear one, it's just a different color. I'm going to review them separately, or possibly together, I haven't decided. Homo Sapiens Visconti thingamajiggy, Homo Sapiens Visconti, sorry. A Rexall Monogram, this is like the SKB 50 Penton thingy. Another Jinhao 992, which I'll get into that. This one's empty though, so I won't be writing with it. A Majestic, a Platinum President, a Tulip Click, and a Kaigelu, I think 316, I don't remember the number. So reviews I will be filming this weekend. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, although this one might be combined with this one. 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm working really hard to get ahead. Did I point to this one? I don't remember. Alright, so let's get these out of the way and do some writing. Okay, put the rest over here. That's a lot of pens. Usually I don't have this many inked up, but it was what it was. So I have a new ink journal because I filled this one up. I just was keeping track. I don't know why on only one side, because not many of them bled through. I saved the last page in case I decide to do a notebook review. I'm now in this, which I am told is called a Tsubame Fool's Notebook. I don't know if that means I'm a fool for buying it, or if there's a meaning there, but it is what it is. I haven't had it too long. Most of these are still inked up. Yeah, these 4 have been emptied since I started it, but... got lots of them. And I'm doing both sides. And this one's going to last a good long time if I'm going to do it like this. And of course I do my pens in use in this guy, which is a Bomo art journal. Kind of fun. And it's been a while. No, it hasn't. I lie. Alright, so let's start, because it's all official looking. let's start with the Visconti Homo Sapiens. So today is actually August 5th. Yes, the 4th is when I should have done it, but I didn't because I was playing in the garden. I actually harvested some tomatoes. I have a zucchini ready to be harvested. I harvested a cucumber, that was the size of a zucchini, so somehow I missed him entirely. And I could have had some venison last night. I'll have to throw some pictures on at the end. So, Visconti Homo Sapiens. This is one of those pens that I'm glad I bought used. Honestly, it is cool, but it has been a bit of a letdown. The biggest letdown was right there. My pen system just failed and I lost the finial. I couldn't purchase the finial that it comes with, but I did find a different one. I might glue it on, we'll see. I can't see anything in there. The other thing I've discovered over time is that if it's jostled too much, the cap fills with ink, which is not pleasant. So this pen doesn't ever travel. The ink in it, of course, is Lamy black, because that's what I'm doing nowadays. Now, I filled it once. I mentioned this Visconti ink pot. I'm being careful not to tilt it yet. I filled it once, filled it down, emptied it down to there, and I thought, wow, that's it? And then it wrote dry within about a page, and I'm like, well, that's just pathetic. So this time I filled it and I pumped. If you're familiar with the Visconti, there's a piston inside. It's kind of like a 820 Pilot Custom 823. So I pumped on this a bit, and I really drew this down. And I've written, I don't know how many pages, but a number of pages, and I'm really impressed by that. I didn't have to do too much cleaning. I had to wipe up the nib and such. I had been warned about this launching as you fill, but I didn't have that problem either time, thank God. But I did keep hold of it just in case. I'll have to review it at some point, but down in here there's a little rubber gasket that the pen just kind of fits into. This is about at the upper limit, I think, of what this ink pot can hold. And then I didn't use it, but there's another piece of the cap. Come on. Well, another piece of the cap comes off, and there's a little piece of felt in there for dabbing it clean, I guess, while you're traveling. But I did this at home because I emptied out my Pilot Custom 823 on a Thursday, and I just thought, I can survive one day without it. So I just wrote in other colors. It was fine. But, this pen is fun in its way. It gives me good line variation. It gives me, it looks cool. They talk about it warming up in your hand as you write with it. I haven't found that. I found it always feels kind of cool. I think if I wrote with it long enough, it would warm up. I mean, it's a stone thing. It's kind of like in a house. You put your stairs your stone stairs where in the winter the sun will shine on them, heat them up all day, and then they'll radiate that heat all night. Whereas in the summer, the sun never hits them. That kind of thing. So, I don't know. This is a fun pen. This is in my permanent collection. I'll be filming the review this weekend. This is a Lorelei Ling Mo. This is one of those pens that's supposed to be a knockoff of the Sailor Pro Color. But it's a fine. I like this one. I think that's a very attractive finish, and I'm going to say that when I review. The writing is good. Not one of my top tier pens, but it's good. My ink is one I'm going to have to look up. I know it's Sailor. It's one of those doggone Boku. One of those pigmented inks. So it's little suspended particles rather than a dye. So it might be a little bit of a bugger to clean out. And I'm actually thinking, after I film the review, I'm keeping this one. Let me just dial up the exposure a bit. That's too dark. I'm thinking I might keep it, but instead of this feed that comes with it, I might take the feed, let's just jump ahead, off of its demonstrator version, because that feed is clear. Yes, they write the same, but I like the looks of the one a lot better than the other. I have not tried doing this as an eyedropper. Chris Rapp has an experiment with the Jinhao 992, which, since we're here, I didn't look. Darned if those pens don't look exactly the same. Converter's different, and they have, the Jinhao has Jinhao on it, the Lingmo has Lingmo on it. Jinhao has a black feed, the Lingmo has a clear feed, but wow, almost the same pen. And I don't own a Sailor Pro color, but look it up on Google. They look an awful lot alike. So this is a Lorelei Lingmo yet again, so I guess I'll have to review them together. And this is a fine. This is a nice looking ink. I actually bought a whole bunch of samples. In fact, most of what you're going to see tonight is samples. This is a nice violet color. I might have to make a bottle of this part of my collection. I actually like the color of that Boku too, but I feel like I don't have a place for that, even though I really like how it looks. Okay, so since this one's empty, I'll just pass it on. Here is my Jinhao 992 that is inked up. Now, interestingly, this is the second time I've inked it up, because I always do pens twice. But you'll notice ink in there and ink here. It didn't happen the first time I filled it, but this time I keep getting ink in there, and I thought maybe the cartridge wasn't seated right. Or, sorry, the converter, so I reseated it. I'm still having that leak inside the barrel. I don't know why. I didn't have that trouble the first time. So I'll have to study that. But this is a Jinhao. Oops, Jinhao. 992. Let's go with a fine nib. It looks like there's an F on it. This is another one of those pigmented inks I've been experimenting with. Wow. Platinum. Pigmented. This appears more pinkish to me. Red, but a pinkish red. Not a color I'm particularly in love with. Not one I hate. I'm glad I only have a sample. On that light, I put in this Delike New Moon, I put a platinum pigmented blue. This is a very fine nib. It doesn't label it, but I want to call it an extra fine. This is also modeled after a sailor. I don't remember what kind, but we don't care. Platinum. Pigmented. Blue. And just for giggles and snorts, I also bought a sample of the Platinum Pigmented Brown. I just have to remember what pen it's in. This one. Tulip Click, which is an Indian pen. So, in answer to another comment I had, yeah, it's true, I kind of went on a stretch there where I was reviewing more vintage and more expensive pens. But I like these. These are like where my heart is, all these pens people haven't heard of. So I'm going to be reviewing a whole bunch of these, and then I'll try and space it out more equitably. I try and be all over the map. So it's a Tulip Click. I don't know why it skipped there. It doesn't usually do that. Let's see. It doesn't give a size, but it's one of those iridium nibs. They're pretty ubiquitous. This brown actually I like better than I like the pictures of it I've seen. And it's actually, I think it's called Sepia. Is it called Sepia or brown? I guess I should look. I need a haircut. I just looking at myself on the iPad. Sepia. Unfortunately, when I redo this setup, I'm still going to be stuck with iPadding it up. I have reasons I don't like that. By the way, I found out my iPad's obsolete. I can no longer update it because it has the 30-pin connector. So I'm stuck at iOS 9. So, you know, it still does everything I want it to do. There's one app I found so far that I can't install. Why buy a new one? Okay, this is my SK. Gotta look up its official name. And maybe I should research it. Somebody told me that they're kind of in transition. So SKB F20 Penton. Whatever it is, it's a fine point. It's another one with one of those iridium point nibs. They're pretty common. And this ink is Pelikan, Edelstein, Jade, which is kind of a bluish green. I think jade jewelry is very attractive. I don't wear jade, so, you know, if you're looking to buy me a gift, don't buy me jade jewelry. I think it's attractive, but I wouldn't wear it. But this doesn't really remind me of jade. Oh, let's see. What else is fun here? Well, here. This one, I think, has another Edelstein in it. No, it doesn't. Where's my other? My other Edelstein is in this one. We'll go with this pen. This is a Rexall Monogram pen, which I will be filming the review again this week. This is a pen that was made for Rexall drugs. Chris Rapp did a review of it a while back. I will do my part soon. The ink in it is Pelikan, Edelstein, I can't remember if it's ADV or AV. AV. Aventurine. And I suppose before I do the actual review, I better learn how to pronounce that word. Sorry, I don't even know what language it's in. Alrighty, let's do the Parker Jotter. Just a plain, ordinary, metal-bodied pen. I have owned a Parker Jotter ballpoint. In fact, I'm pretty sure I still do. It's a ballpoint I like. It was stainless steel. Not an exciting pen. I bought it mostly because I'd never seen a Parker Jotter fountain pen before. And this one has a medium nib. Whoops, and it's not Pelikan, it is Parker. Perish the thought. Parker Quink Black, which is an okay black. It actually is very well behaved, and it was my black for probably about 20 years. Maybe more than 20 years. But it's, I was just ready for a change. So I switched to Noodler's Black, and now I'm into Lamy Black. And Noodler's, they're all three good inks. Let's be fair. Alright, this one, I was given some recommendations of black inks to try. This is a vintage pen I've had some trouble with. What's interesting is I have a version of this pen that's just a few years older. It writes beautifully. But they lost something. Or else I got a really defective one, I don't know. But this is an Arrow, which is a German make from the 1960s. And it was sold to me as a mottled purple and black. I haven't done the research to discover if there is actually a model name. Piston filler. Actually has a very nice blue ink window here, which by the time I do my review, my plan is to empty it so you can make out the ink window there. Interestingly to me, this isn't celluloid. It's some kind of plastic. And then they put some kind of a thin wrap around it to give it this design. I have seen that on a few of the lower cost Chinese pens. I did not know it was a thing for 1960s German pens, but I guess I was wrong. This has, the ink in it is one that was recommended to me, Diamine Onyx. When I do the review of the pen, I'll have to admit that the pen hasn't thrilled me, so my impression of that ink is colored by that. Haha. Alrighty, here is, speaking of Chinese pens, this was sent to me by a viewer. It's a Kaigelu 316. Very interesting finial, which when I do the review, I'll have to show you. It's one of the upcoming reviews. Very solid feeling, plastic grip. It actually is a lot like my Dragon pen, which I love. Difference is this one has, instead of the nib that it comes with, this is a Knox nib. And I always think it's not writing when I have this ink in it. Kaigelu. But see that? It's darkening as I write. Let's see, what size is the Knox? I can't tell. It's buried up inside the barrel somewhere. This is Platinum Classic. So it's one of Platinum's Iron Gall inks. In fact, you're about to see another one. I am liking these Platinum Classic inks. These are interesting. Some are more interesting than others. This is one of the interesting ones. Citrus Black. This one goes on very bright. In fact, on the wrong paper, it's almost illegible because it's so bright. And yet, look how the line started. Look how it ends. And just keep watching. All right. I should do the next Platinum, but I'm going to save that. This is a fun pen. I will be reviewing this one too. This is one of my earliest restorations. This is a Majestic fountain pen. Basically, I had to clean it. I had to put a new sack in it. A little bit of tarnish still. That doesn't bother me. I love this finish. I'm told it's Bakelite, but I haven't fully researched it. I better find out. But this is a Majestic. It's one of the third-tier American brands. I don't know the nib size. I'm pretty sure the nib is steel. Just says iridium tipped USA. That's, I guess, different than iridium point Germany. The ink in it is another one that was a nice surprise. And by the way, everything you've seen here, except for the Lamy Black, has been a sample. This is yet another sample. This is Pelikan 4001. Dark green, or one manufacturer I saw was called Dunkelgrün. I don't care for their brilliant green, but I like this one. That's another. I'm tempted to get a bottle. So how many bottles have I been tempted by? Let's see. 1, 2, not that one. 3, 4. Oh, 1, 2, 5, but no. All right. This is a pen another one I'm filming a review. I'll be sending this one on to somebody that I know, hopefully on Monday. This is a Ringtop. It's a third-tier manufacturer. It's a Servo. I'll do the whole history when I do the review. Probably from the 1920s. Made by the Moore Company, although earlier on in their history they were working with somebody else. Little scratchy. I wish I was braver about nib smoothing, but I'm just not there yet. So I will let him deal with that. Oh, that's interesting. Apparently, I put Diamine Onyx in this one also. And I'll tell you what, it looks a lot better than it does in that Arrow. what a nice nib. I mean, it's such a tiny little nib, it even looks a little ridiculous because it's so tiny. And yet it lays down a nice line. If I could just smooth it, but not quite there yet in my pen restoration. Yes, I'm out of order. This one I showed you last week. This one appeared in my mailbox when I got home from Bismarck Friday night. This is my Platinum 3776 with the Shunyo finish. Yes, I overspent because these are expensive. I have been planning on this purchase since I heard about them and saw that they had a size C nib. C in the platinum world means double broad. Apparently C in some manufacturers means coarse, and in Pilot I don't remember what it means. Triple broad, I can't remember. But anyway, the ink in it is yet another sample. Platinum Classic Lavender Black. This one doesn't have as dramatic a change as the Citrus Black, but it does have a subtle change to a darker look that's very similar, actually, to my mind, to Noodler's Black Swan and Australian Rose. Okay, now here's the big one. I don't have amazing equipment to awe you with this week. I don't have a brand new makey or anything, although I guess I could play Mario Brothers again. But you may have noticed I do some advertising on this channel. You know, you have that option. If I wanted to, I could even break these videos up and have advertising in the middle, but I don't want to do that. The reason I advertised at first was just out of curiosity. I was way below the viewer threshold where I could actually collect money. But I found out that I passed that threshold quite some time back, so I've missed several $100s worth of advertising money I could have made. But anyway, so I finally started to collect checks, and this is what became of the first bit of money I made. This is a pen I have wanted, never been able to justify. I wasn't going to buy it this summer. I wasn't going to buy any more pens this summer, yet here it is. I have to say, I can't wait till I'm on its second fill and I can do a review. This is a nice pen. A little overpriced, although I paid less than I did for that pen. And this one has a custom nib. So, it's a little bit bigger than a 3776, and when I do the review, I'll give you the details. A little bit larger nib. And it is a cartridge converter pen, which I think all platinums are, but I won't swear that. I just think that. So let me write with it and see if you notice what makes this super special. Yes, this is another ink sample. Do you see it yet? What if I do this? Now do you see it? This is a broad cursive italic nib. I knew I wanted another cursive italic nib, thanks to that mysterious, what was it called? I keep wanting to say Oscar Todd, but it's not. Swan Maybe Todd, which I am told has had a nib replaced. Excuse me, the previous owner told me he replaced the nib on it. So that's why the number of the pen didn't match the nib. Interesting. So this doesn't have the flex that one does, but wow, is it fun. So the ink, of course, is platinum. Like I said, another ink sample. This one doesn't do much changing. It's a little darker, but it's very subtle. But I like the color and I like the shading. If I were to go purchasing inks, want. See, Aventurine, want. Sepia wouldn't mind, but don't want particularly. Violet, want. Saibuko, Boku want. So, yeah, some self-discipline will be needed there. But I want to zoom in just to give you a quick look at what a cursive italic nib is. And then maybe I'll do a drawing too, because I feel like it won't show you enough. But if you look closely at the writing, you see a difference. Very crisp. Mike Madison actually has a good video up about the different nibs. So I'll try and remember to put a link in the description. But there, you see it? It is ground kind of like a stub, but it has the tipping still. And then the edges are a little sharper. So I got a custom grind on a pen that was cheaper than my 3776. So that was pretty awesome. What's his name? Dan Smith is who I bought it from. You're not going to get amazing discounts from him, but for the moment he offers the option of various nib grinds. And yeah, I could have gone for an oblique because I like that grind also, but thanks to that Swan, I just wanted another cursive italic. This one doesn't have flex in it. It's an 18 karat gold nib. They don't typically make those flexy. But, wow, is that a nice pen. And, it's an attractive nib. I mean, what can I say? Let's see if I can turn this right. There we go. See, it says President. 18 karat broad. Platinum 750. So, yeah, kind of Art Deco detailing. Very nice. So, anyway, those are the pens I'm using. What you can look forward to. Another leg of my trip to Bismarck. I'm still not going to talk about the protests too much, but I might reference them a little because we'll be in that territory. I have my reasons. I live in this state and I do need to be somewhat careful. Not always as careful as I should be with some of the things I blurt out on this channel. Also, I'm hoping with school starting soon, I'd like to do a road trip. I just really haven't. Motorcycle rally is starting down in Sturgis. I can't remember the exact dates of it off the top of my head because I'm not a motorcycle guy. So I'm not going to the Black Hills because I'll be surrounded by motorcycles. So what I'm going to do, I just discovered this yesterday actually. I don't know how, I just stumbled across it on the internet. But north of here, there's a little town called Cartwright. It's on the western edge of North Dakota. It is tiny. But near Cartwright, there's an old lift bridge. And what they are designed to do is it crosses a river, of course. It's a railroad bridge. But then the middle section of it would lift up. I'm not sure what kind of boat traffic was supposed to go under it or what the idea was, but that was what they built over the Yellowstone River. And then on the other side, there's a tunnel, and apparently it's sort of a park. But anyway, I would really like to go visit that, and I found out that you can, and I thought, road trip! Plus, that's a neat part of the state that I haven't taken you to. Probably take you up Highway 16, including, you've been on the southern part of that, up to Beach, but you've never been on the northern part, so I'll take you up the northern part, and then we'll head west. And then I'm kind of thinking I'll swoop back through, I don't want to go all the way to Williston, sorry. I had thought about it, but changed my mind. But I'll swoop back through Watford City and Alexander, which is a cool town. Maybe Arnegard. Well, I guess if it's Alexander and Watford City, I have to hit Arnegard. Arnegard, and then down through the north unit of Teddy Roosevelt. In fact, I might take you through the north unit, actually, on the road. I don't know about hiking, because that'll be a long day. But then I'm getting it into my head. Possibly getting a motel room and doing some other exploring in that area. So don't take anything too seriously beyond Alexander. Because once I get to Alexander, I can see what time of the day it is and see how I feel about possibly staying in a motel overnight or just coming home. So anyway, it'll be an interesting tour no matter what I do. And it'll be a part of the state I haven't taken you to yet. I've been avoiding that part of the state the last few years because of the oil boom, but that has died down quite a bit. So I think it'll be interesting, especially, well, I can't compare to the way Watford City was. I'll have to tell you about the way Watford City was. And Alexander. Alexander has a bypass around it now, which it didn't have. Watford City has bypasses around it, which it didn't have. But I do have pictures of how Watford City was, so it'll be interesting. So, but that's in the future. I have all kinds of trips actually saved up on my hard drive, so I got to start getting selective about which ones I show, which ones I don't, and maybe if it's a rough winter, I won't be taking any this winter, and I can use them all up. So we'll see. So hope it was interesting. Hope it was useful, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.